I never imagined my marriage would unravel in a moment as quiet and ordinary as a post-shower conversation. But there she stood, towel wrapped tightly around her, hair dripping, steam curling in the air, and everything about her body went stiff the second I asked, "How long has this been happening?" She didn't say a word. Didn't even blink. Her hand, which had been reaching for the lotion, froze mid-air. I didn't need her to answer. That silence, it told me everything. The signs had been there for months, subtle at first, late nights at work, a new phone password, and a sudden obsession with her appearance. I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe I was just being paranoid. But then, 2 nights ago, I got the proof. I hadn't meant to snoop. I swear. I was just looking for my headphones, and I noticed her tablet wasn't locked. I tapped the screen. One notification. A name I didn't recognize. Curious, I opened it. Dozens of messages. Flirty. Emotional. Personal. Some even sent while we were sitting on the same couch. And the worst part? He wasn't some stranger. He was someone I knew. His name was Nathan. My best man. My friend since college. The guy who toasted our wedding, calling us the perfect couple, was now the same man telling my wife she looked beautiful in the new red dress I hadn't even seen yet. I read through the messages with a sinking stomach. They weren't just about sex. No. That would have been easier, in some twisted way. These were deep. Emotional. Like she had carved out a separate life with him, one message at a time. They joked about me. About how clueless I was. How I'd never suspect a thing. Well, now I knew. And that's what brought me to this moment, standing in the bathroom doorway, my chest tight, my voice low, asking the one question that had been tormenting me since I read their digital love notes: how long has this been happening? She turned slowly to face me, her face pale. For the first time in years, I saw fear in her eyes. Not guilt. Not shame. Fear. She opened her mouth. And then, she lied. "You're overreacting. You're overreacting." That was her first instinct, not to confess, not to cry, not to even explain, but to gaslight me. I stared at her, waiting. Hoping. But all she did was wrap the towel tighter around her and take a defensive step back, like I was the problem. "You found some old messages," she said, her voice trembling just slightly. It didn't mean anything. Old messages? I took my phone out of my pocket and opened the screenshots I'd taken. Held it up like a mirror to her lies. This one was from 3 days ago. While I was making dinner. While our son was watching TV in the next room. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Caught. Finally. She dropped her gaze, and for a second, I thought she might say something real. Something human. But instead, she muttered, "I didn't mean for it to happen." I laughed bitterly. That line. The classic line. Then why did you let it keep happening? Why him? Silence again. And then the words I'll never forget, "because he listened." You didn't. Because he listened. You didn't. Those 5 words hit harder than any slap. I stood there stunned, the steam in the room now feeling suffocating. She wasn't just admitting to the affair, she was blaming me for it. "I worked 2 jobs so we could afford this house," I said quietly. "I gave up weekends, nights, sleep, for us. For you and Jake. And you're telling me that because I didn't sit around listening to your problems after 12-hour shifts, that gave you a reason to crawl into bed with him?" She finally looked up, tears in her eyes, but I wasn't moved. I'd seen enough. I felt alone, she whispered. "You were here, but not here. And Nathan, he reminded me what it was like to feel wanted." "Yeah." I said, voice sharp. "You know what I wanted? A wife who didn't stab me in the back with someone I trusted like a brother. She dropped her face into her hands, but I didn't care anymore. Something had broken inside me, and it wasn't just my trust. It was the illusion that we could come back from this. I walked out of the bathroom, leaving her behind, and went straight to the guest room. My hands shook as I pulled a small suitcase from the closet. If she wanted to feel wanted, she could do it without me. But I wasn't walking out alone. That I sat on the edge of the guest room bed, suitcase open, my mind racing. I wasn't just thinking about her. I was thinking about Jake, our 6-year-old son, asleep down the hall, wrapped in dinosaur blankets and unaware that his family was shattering overnight. Whatever happened between me and her, I couldn't let it ruin him. I knew the law would be messy. Custody battles. Financial wars. But I also knew one thing: I was not leaving my son behind. The next morning, I was up before the sun. She was still in the master bedroom, door locked. Cowardly. Hiding. I didn't care. I called a lawyer. Told him everything, the affair, the screenshots, the timeline. He didn't even hesitate. "You're in a strong position," he said. "Especially if the other man was someone close to the family." "Like my best friend?" I asked. He paused. "Even better." We scheduled a meeting. That same day. I dropped Jake off at school like it was any other morning, gave him a big hug, and promised him we'd have pizza that night. And I meant it. Because by then, I would have already filed the papers. Divorce. Primary custody. Exclusive use of the house, temporarily, until the court finalized it. She wanted to betray me in silence. I'd answer in court that I walked into the lawyer's office with a folder full of evidence and a heart running on pure adrenaline. Screenshots. Call logs. Photos of Nathan at Jake's last birthday party, smiling like family while sneaking around behind my back. The attorney, Mr. Klein, looked over everything carefully, nodding. "She won't see this coming," he said. "Most people think emotional affairs are hard to prove. But this? This is a full-blown betrayal with receipts." We filed immediately. Emergency motion for temporary custody. Request to remain in the marital home with Jake. Petition for spousal misconduct. By the time I got back home that evening, the sheriff had already served her the notice. She was sitting at the kitchen table, pale, her mascara smeared. She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "You're really doing this?" I didn't answer. Just walked past her and into Jake's room. He was playing with his Legos, humming to himself. Innocent. Untouched by all of it, for now. She followed me in. "Please, don't take him from me," she whispered. I turned to her, calm but firm. "I'm not taking him. I'm protecting him." Then I knelt down, scooped Jake into my arms, and said, "Come on, bud. Pizza night." And for the first time in weeks, I smiled. Because I wasn't broken anymore. I was rebuilding, with my son at my side. The next few weeks were a blur of paperwork, hearings, and awkward drop-offs. We shared custody temporarily, court-ordered, but Jake spent most of his nights with me. The house felt emptier, yes, but cleaner. Calmer. No secrets thickening the air like smoke. I watched her try to keep it together. She moved in with her sister, showed up to court with tired eyes and expensive lawyers. Nathan? He disappeared. I heard through mutual friends that his wife found out too, and kicked him out with nothing but a suitcase and his car keys. Poetic. At the custody hearing, she tried to play the devoted mother. Said I worked too much. Said Jake needed her stability. But when my lawyer presented the texts, the timeline, the lies, the judge leaned back, steepled his fingers, and said, "Mrs. Carson, can you explain how maintaining a secret relationship with your husband's best friend served your child's best interest?" She had no answer. I got primary custody that day. She cried. I didn't. After the verdict, she asked if we could talk. Said she was going to therapy. Said she missed me. Said she missed the way Jake laughed when we were all together. I looked her in the eyes and told her the truth. You didn't just cheat on me. You broke our family. And that's something no amount of sorry can fix. Then I walked away, my son's small hand gripping mine, and never looked back. Months passed. The house didn't feel like a war zone anymore. No more tension in the hallways. No more fake smiles at dinner. Just me and Jake, rebuilding, one peaceful evening at a time. I started cooking again. Playing catch with him in the yard. We made Saturday morning pancakes a tradition, complete with too much syrup and a kitchen full of flour. Healing wasn't instant. I had to unlearn a lot, the need to second guess, the instinct to check her phone, the fear of being blindsided again. But day by day, I stopped surviving, and started living. As for her, she tried to come back. Once. Showed up on our doorstep with trembling hands and a soft voice, asking if we could talk like a family. Jake peeked from behind my legs. He didn't run to her. I looked at her, really looked, and saw the same person who once meant everything to me, now standing outside everything I built without her. Jake already has a family, I said. And it's right here. She left without another word. Sometimes the people closest to you will hurt you the deepest. But sometimes, that pain becomes the push you need to reclaim your worth. She made her choice. And I made mine. Now my son doesn't just have a home, he has a father who refuses to settle for broken love. A year later, I stood at Jake's school play, watching him proudly recite his lines in a paper crown and cardboard armor. He scanned the audience for me, his eyes lighting up when he found me in the front row. I gave him a thumbs up and a smile, the kind that says, I'm here. Always. After the show, parents swarmed the hallway with flowers and hugs. I knelt down to greet Jake, and he threw his arms around my neck. She was here, he whispered. I froze. Who? I asked, even though I already knew. He shrugged. Mom. In the back. She left before it ended. I stood up slowly, scanning the hallway. She was gone. Like a shadow trying to slip back into a place that no longer belonged to her. For a moment, I felt a pang, not of love, but of loss. Not for her, but for the family we could have been. Jake tugged my hand. Can we get ice cream? Only if I get the biggest one, I joked. He grinned. Deal. As we walked out together, I realized something important. I didn't win by getting revenge. I won by choosing peace. By showing my son what real love looks like, steady, loyal, unshakable. And that was worth everything. A few weeks after the play, an envelope arrived in the mail. No return address, just my name in handwriting I hadn't seen in a while. Inside was a letter. From her. I watched Jake on that stage. I didn't want to interfere. I just wanted to see him smile again. You've done a good job with him, better than I ever could have imagined. I never wrote to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know that I'm letting go. Of the fight. Of the guilt. Of you. I've started over. In a new city. I'm learning who I am without the lies. Without pretending. Take care of him. Take care of yourself. I hope, one day, you both can forgive me. Even if I never ask again. I sat with that letter in my lap for a long time. Not angry. Not relieved. Just, still. Some endings don't come with explosions or final arguments. Some come in quiet envelopes, closed doors, and new beginnings. I didn't write back. Not out of hate, but because there was nothing more to say. We had already said everything in our choices. Jake and I kept going, to baseball games, to science fairs, to bedtime stories and tooth fairy visits. Life didn't need to be perfect. Just real. She became a ghost of a chapter we finished. And we kept writing the rest of the book. This time, together. This time, honest. This time, whole point. One chilly Sunday morning, Jake asked me something unexpected as we sat on the porch, sipping hot cocoa. "Dad, will you ever get married again?" The question caught me off guard. He was only 7, but he said it like he'd been holding it in for a while. I looked at him carefully. "Why do you ask, bud?" He shrugged. "You're happy, but sometimes I think you get lonely. You just smile less when no one's around. Kids see more than we give them credit for." I ruffled his hair. "I won't settle just to fill a quiet room, okay? If someone comes along who makes life better, not messier, you'll be the first to know." He nodded like a little man who understood more than he should. That night, after he fell asleep, I sat in the living room scrolling through old photos. One caught my eye, our first Christmas as a family. Smiles wide. A tree behind us. Jake just a baby in my arms. I didn't cry. I didn't ache. I just smiled. Because that version of me, the one who believed in forever, he didn't die. He just evolved. Now, my forever is built on something stronger, truth, peace, and a love that can't be shaken by betrayal. Whether or not someone new enters my life, I already have everything I need, a son who knows what love really looks like, and a man in the mirror who finally does too. True closure doesn't come when the pain ends. It comes when the lesson begins. And I've learned mine that it's been almost 2 years now. The house is still ours, mine and Jake's, filled with laughter, spilled juice, Lego landmines, and the occasional movie night where we both fall asleep on the couch. The court process? Long over. The dust has settled. She has visitation rights, but they're limited. Supervised. Her choices had consequences, and the court made that clear. As for Nathan, I heard he moved states. No job. No family. No friends. I don't hate him anymore. I don't care enough to. I've started dating again, carefully. Slowly. For me, but mostly for Jake. He doesn't need anyone to replace his mom. He just needs people who don't lie, don't leave, and don't love with conditions. The woman I'm seeing now, her name's Lily, met Jake for the first time last month. They built a Lego spaceship together and laughed like they'd known each other for years. After she left, Jake looked at me and said, "She's nice. She's real." That hit me hard. Because he knows the difference now. And so do I. Life doesn't always go the way you imagined. Sometimes, it shatters. Sometimes, it heals stronger than before. I was betrayed. I was broken. But I got up, not for revenge, but for rebuilding. Now, I'm not just a man who survived infidelity. I'm a father who turned a wound into a new beginning. And this time, no one gets to take that away from us.